Very good afternoon, everyone. So we have in our class now Abhay Jain, Dipendra Gujar, Dipti Rakesh, Jaipal Singh, Jain
Present,
Dwivedi,
sir.
Kushi Wadhwa, Lagan Mahipal, Raghav Singhal, Rajiv Singh Anand, Rishabh Goyal, Ritik Yadav, Sangya Gupta, Shubhang, and Ujjwal. So, very warm welcome to all of you in this class today. So, Ritik, yeah, you are also there. Fine. So let us begin the class, or you want others? Just hold for a moment. So, guys, let us start the class. Okay, fine then. So, uh, here we go, and today we will be having two things we will be going to study. One is the remaining portion of your this transfer of property in case of uh, the sale of goods, and then the finder of the lost goods. Okay, so fine. So let us start with it. Okay. So performance of the contract of sale by delivery of the goods. So without delivery of the goods, the performance of the contract of sale is not possible, and it is meaningless without the goods being delivered. Suppose you have purchased your mobile from somewhere, okay, and the person is not delivering that goods to you. So would you be able to appreciate this particular purchase which you have done? So will be of no use. So until and unless delivery is done, so nothing will be useful as such, right? So from section 31 to 44, the performance of the contract of the sale regarding the delivery of the goods we will be studying. So definition of delivery is given under section 2(2) of the Sale of Goods Act, which means the voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another. So mind it, voluntary. So you cannot take it, by use of unfair means, any delivery you have taken. So that will not be counted as a delivery as such. Thus, if the possession is taken through unfair means, there is no delivery of the goods. Delivery of the goods sold may be made by doing anything which the party agrees, and shall be treated as a delivery or putting the goods in the possession of the buyer and any person authorized to hold them in this regard. So now here another thing is there. Either you have to give the delivery to the buyer, or it has to be a authorized person of the buyer. So buyer is buying the goods from you. He has given the payment. So delivery has to be done either to him or to any other person whom he has authorized. So what are the duties of the seller and the buyer in this case? So the simple duty of the seller and the buyer in this case is that the seller is to deliver the goods, and the buyer has to accept the delivery and pay for the same. Okay, so that is what the delivery of the goods means. Both of them have to do some certain things mutually, and accordingly it will happen, right? So next is the payment and the delivery are concurrent conditions. So unless and otherwise agreed, delivery of the goods and the payment of the price are concurrent conditions. That is to say, the seller shall be ready and willing to give the possession of the goods, and in exchange the buyer should be ready and is willing to give the price of the goods to the seller. Then only the delivery will be said to happen. Now under section 33 to 41, there are certain things which we will be dealing. So do not consider this as a process. This is not a process as such. This is a part where we will be traveling through throughout the presentation today. So what are the rules and regulations regarding the part delivery, buyer to such? I request to just please go through this, okay, once, and then let me just get back to you on this. So silently see and observe that what can be the you can say the rules and regulation regarding this. Okay, you go through this.
चल ठीक है चल सारी छोड़ ये
4 GB RAM है
Lagan, please see this whatsoever is there. I will be asking you guys. You have to participate in the class.
Oh, sorry sir. Okay sir.
So you are not audible.
आप क्लास लो फ्री हो तब मैं बता देना वैसे कोई प्रॉब्लम आएगी नहीं निश्चित रहो आप इस चीज को
Fine, dear. So have you seen? So what is the relationship between the sequence which is given over here? Can anyone tell me? What is the sequence? What is the importance of the sequence over here? Anyone? See, these I have already told you, there is no sequence at all. You should have told me again this. Okay, sir, you told me that you told us there is no sequence. This is the way we will be going through in this particular PowerPoint presentation. So let us take this one by one. Fine. So first is the delivery. What is a delivery? Delivery of the goods may be made by doing anything which the party agrees shall be treated as a delivery or which has an effect of putting goods in the possession of the party. Okay, so either there can be a constructive delivery, there can be a symbolic delivery in which the party does certain things or he tells the seller to do certain things which he will consider as a delivery. For example, giving the goods to some warfinger, giving it or you can say delivering of the goods to the courier, okay, will be called as a delivery, or putting the goods in the position of the buyer or any of his any of his authorized person will be counted as a delivery. I will not go in depth of the delivery over here because the entire presentation is regarding delivery only, and we will be going with it one by one. So effect of what is the effect of a part delivery? A delivery of goods and part in progress of the delivery of the whole as the same effect for the purpose of passing the property in such goods. So if a delivery is done in part, so the part delivery will be considered as a delivery to the extent as a delivery of the whole, but related to that part. But a delivery of a part of the goods with the intention of severing it off from the goods from the whole does not operate as a delivery of the remainder. For example, a person has a enter into a contract for sale of 100 bales of cotton. Okay, and 100 bales of cotton is to be delivered in parts. Okay, so with the installment of 25 bales each week. Okay, so the seller has given a delivery of, suppose, 2 installments and 50 bales he has delivered, and then afterwards buyer tells him, okay, you stop the delivery and I will accept this goods only whatsoever you have given me the delivery, and let me just take this delivery after 2 months. Now what the thing is, now his intention is to just cut off, because the market price might have it is going down, so that the price which has been fixed with the seller, he will not be able to fetch that price from the market also, and he just wants to close it over here. So over here his intention is to cut it off, and again when the price will be stabilized, then again he will be able to take the delivery in the market as such. So in such a situation, this is a severing, or you can say cutting off the part delivery with the previous delivery which has happened. So it will not be called as a complete delivery. It will be called as and both the delivery will be treated separately. Now this is another example: certain goods lying in at the wharf, and the seller has instructed the wharfinger to deliver them to the buyer who had paid for them, and the buyer thereafter accepted them and took away the part. So held there was a delivery of whole. Now even if the buyer has taken as a part, but it will be called as a delivery as a whole only, because the seller has attempted a delivery to provide the full delivery to the buyer. So next is buyer to apply for delivery. So apart from the express contract, the seller of the goods is not bound to deliver until the end unless the buyer has applied for the delivery. It means that buyer has to ask for the delivery of the goods. Until unless buyer asks for the delivery, the seller will not deliver the goods, or he is not bound to deliver the goods until and unless something is mentioned in the contract to the contrary. So if something else is mentioned in the contract, so accordingly the whatsoever is mentioned in the contract has to be done. So everything and anything which is implied will be superseded by the express contract. So now next is the place of delivery and how the place of delivery will be dealt in. So whether it is for the buyer to take possession of the goods or for seller to send into to the buyer is a question depending in each case on the contract that is express or implied between the parties. So apart from any such contract, if there is some contract which is express or implied on the part of the parties, that which decides the place of the delivery, the delivery has to happen. Then the delivery will happen at that place only. Otherwise, apart from such contract, the goods are to be delivered at the place where they were existing at the time of sale in case of actual sale, or the place where they are existing at the time of sale, at the time of contract of sale in case of agreement to sale. Okay, or if they are not in existence, then the delivery will be deemed to happen at a place where they will be manufactured or produced. For example, a person has ordered order to the fabricator for building the iron gate for his house. So at the time, because he is ordering it, the design is to be finalized and design he has given to the fabricator, the goods are not in existence. But in that case, the place of delivery, if nothing else is there, the place of delivery will be the manufacturer or the place where it will be produced or manufactured by the that vendor from whom you are going to take the delivery. For example, you want to purchase a mobile, so mobile will be delivered at the place of the where it is existing at the time of the contract. So the place of the mobile is the shopkeeper's shop. Okay, so the seller's shop will be the place of the mobile where it will be kept, and there only it will be used as such. Okay. Next is the time of the delivery, where under the contract of the sale, seller is bound to send the goods to the buyer, but no time for sending them is fixed. The seller is bound to send them within the reasonable time. So place of delivery is clear. Time of delivery is whenever you are going to purchase any goods, one thing is for sure, that one must take the delivery immediately as the property in the goods passed. Otherwise, there will be problems, there will be issues, the courts will be invited, and all these will happen. Okay, so this is always recommended, even by personally, legally, whatever, that as soon as you have purchased the goods, rush for the delivery, take the delivery in your possession, and treat the goods as yours. Okay, otherwise what will happen, if the buyer has not taken the goods, the delivery of the goods, the seller may, may not take care of it properly, and then afterwards there will be issues, so there will be a problem. So time of delivery must be immediately, or otherwise the time will be decided as a reasonable time by the court of law if the suit is filed. Okay, next is goods is in the possession of the third party. So where the goods at the time of sale are in the possession of third person, there is no delivery unless and until the third person acknowledges the buyer that he holds the goods in his behalf, provided that nothing in this section shall affect the operation of the issue or transfer of any document to the title of the goods. That is nothing, right? For example, the goods are in possession of the you can say carrier. Now, because of the the transfer of the title in the document of the goods has now passed from the seller to buyer. So the buyer has to acknowledge, or that person, because the seller will now call the courier, that the delivery can be given to the buyer. Now the courier will inform the buyer that I am having now goods on your behalf. Please take the delivery immediately, or there will be, I will charge you for certain beyond certain time limit if you do not take the delivery of goods from me, because I have to keep your goods in my storeroom, or you can say this my WAF. So there itself I will charge. So now it is responsibility of the seller to take the delivery well on time. Next is time for tender of delivery. Demand or tender of delivery may be treated as ineffectual unless it is made on a reasonable hour. So what is reasonable hour? Again, is a question of fact. For example, a person who wants to just gets a delivery at night at 1 o'clock, he just bangs the door of the seller. I want the delivery of the goods now because the day has started. The day starts at 12 o'clock at night. So I am here to take the delivery of the goods. So this is not the way to take the delivery of the goods, because it is not a reasonable time. It is totally unreasonable time. Raat ke 1 baje you cannot, tell the seller to just deliver you the goods. Okay. And next is, but if the contract otherwise provides that as soon as possible, or you can say as the day starts, or the contract specifically provides that I want to take delivery at 1 a.m. at night only, and the seller has agreed to give delivery at 1 a.m. at night because there might be some Muhurat, there might be some Kal Sarpayog, there might be some whatever yog it is. So, and they have agreed upon, then you have to give delivery at 1 a.m. at night also, because it is expressly mentioned in the contract that it is expressly mentioned in the contract that delivery is to be made at night, and impliedly both are called fools because both of them have agreed to just give the delivery at night itself. Next is the expense of the delivery. So expense of the delivery is incidental to put the goods in the deliverable state. So by default, all the expenses which is required to put the goods in a deliverable state will be borne by the seller. This should be different. This should be different from the transportation and the local carriage. Sometimes, as per the contract, the local carriage also is to be bought by the seller, and the goods are to be delivered at the doorsteps of the buyer only. So in that case, if it is given expressly in the contract, then it will be written. Otherwise, the delivery is to be taken at the doorstep of the seller. Okay. Next is your delivery of a wrong quantity. So where the seller delivers to the buyer a quality of goods less than he has contracted to sell, the buyer may reject them. But if the buyer accepts the goods so deliver, he shall pay for them at the contracted rate. Okay, so if the goods are less, then he can reject, and at the same time he has to because he is accepting the goods, so the price whatsoever he has contracted for should be the same. So where the seller has delivered the goods a quantity larger than or more than it is contracted for, buyer may accept the goods included in the contract and reject the remaining of the goods. He may reject either, or he may reject the whole lot also, because the goods are not in the quantity which it is which was asked by the buyer. If the buyer accepts the whole of the goods so delivered, he shall pay the extra amount for the extra goods which he is taking, because the quantity is more than what he asked for. Okay, so he has to pay the extra. But when the seller delivers to the buyer the goods he has contracted to sell, and which is mixed with the different type of description of the goods. For example, the buyer asked for potatoes, and he also sold bhindi along with the potato. So, and now it will be now what will happen? So he has to you can what he can do is he can just select the potato, and remaining bhindi he will reject, and he will pay for the potato. Okay, but in this case, because this is a mistake, this is a mutual mistake which has happened. Someone else good has been sent to the buyer. Buyer has never ordered for it. Seller might also have sending it to someone, but by mistake it has given. So mistake is void. Okay, so in that case, the doctrine of restitution will be applicable, and the bhindi will be belonging to the buyer, and the aloo will be belonging to the seller. And for bhindi, he need not to pay, but at the same time, the expense of taking away the bhindi will be borne by the seller only. Okay, so the provisions of these sections are subject to any usage of trade, special agreement, and all other things. Fine. So here is an example. A agrees to sell 100 quintals of wheat to B 1000 at the rate of 1000 per quintal. So now A has delivered 1100 quintals of wheat. So 100 it is more. Okay. So he may reject the whole lot or accept only 1000 quintals. Okay. So only just a moment. This is 100,000. Yeah, so 1000 quintals was asked for, and the seller has delivered 1100 quintals. Okay, so now the remaining 100 quintals, which is more, he can accept, but he has to pay at the same rate of 1000 rupees per quintal for this 100 quintals if the seller is also agree for the same. Next is the installment deliveries. Unless otherwise agreed, the buyer is not bound to accept the delivery in installment. Rights and the liabilities of the case of delivery of installments and payment thereon may be determined by the parties of the contract. So until and unless agreed means if the delivery is agreed to be in installment, then it can be in installment. Otherwise, it is not necessary that buyer will accept it in installments. If nothing is there, the delivery has to be only one part. It cannot be implied. It is expressed. If it has to be expressly mentioned if the delivery is to be made in installments. So next is delivery to the courier. So subject to the terms of the contract, delivery to the goods to the courier for the transmission is prima facie deemed to be a delivery to the buyer, because in this case the courier will be deemed to be the agent of the buyer, and anything which is done with the agent is also deemed to be done with the buyer himself. Next is deterioration in the transit. So where the goods are delivered at a distant place, so liability of deterioration necessarily incidental to the course of the transit will fall on the buyer, because it's the buyer who has asked for the delivery of certain goods at very large distance. So neither the seller nor the courier will be responsible. So if the goods actually deteriorate on the way, so the entire risk is of the buyer who has asked for so long a distance to be traveled by the goods, and the goods are of perishing in nature. So for example, P has sold to Q certain quantity of iron rods, which was sent in the proper vessel. It was rusted before it reached the buyer. The rust of the rod was so minimal and was not affecting the merchantable quality. So merchantable quality is not being affected, and the deterioration was also necessarily incidental to the transmission, because it will happen in the on the way, because iron is there, so some rusting will be there. It took about 10 days to just reach it. So in 10 days, whatever rust can happen, it will happen, but it will not make the iron rods totally, useless. So it was held that Q was bound to accept the goods because Q is a buyer, and he has actually decided to get the goods in this way only. Okay, so this is the thing. So rules regarding delivery of the goods, it is given under section 33 to 41. So next, again, because we have been studying this from 33 to 41 further, so now this is the last section 41 which has come up. So buyer's right to examine the goods. Where the goods are delivered to the buyer who has not previously examined them, he is entitled to a reasonable opportunity for examining the goods in order to ascertain whether the goods are in conformity with the contract. So it is always a right of the buyer for examination of the goods. Now, if the buyer is sitting so far away and he wants to come by air or by train or by whatever means and wants to personally examine the goods, the seller must give him a proper opportunity to examine the goods. So unless otherwise agreed, the seller is bound on the request to afford a buyer a reasonable opportunity for examining of the goods. Okay, so without examination, the things may not proceed. So these all were rules regarding the delivery. So when a person is delivering, the other person should be accepting the delivery. So there are certain rules regarding acceptance of the delivery also. So acceptance may be deemed to take place when when the buyer intimates the seller that he has accepted the goods. Okay. Next, does any act to the goods which is inconsistent with the ownership of the seller. And why inconsistent? What will be the inconsistency? Inconsistency may be, you can say, something which the seller has done in order to, just convey the buyer that there will be what? Huh. Fine, then call me at 1 o'clock. Yes. Yeah. So in that case, what will happen? In that case, suppose, for example, a person has is in the position of the goods, but he has not actually conveyed the buyer that whether he has purchased it or not, and he has pledged the goods or he has sold the goods to someone else. So because he has done something which is inconsistent, so what will happen? So it will be deemed that he has accepted the goods. So such inconsistent act will be the acceptance of that, will be deemed to be the acceptance of the goods. Next, if the goods are retained after a lapse of reasonable time without intimating to the seller. So seller has not been intimated and the goods has he has retained the goods for some more period of time. In that case also it will be deemed that he has accepted the goods. Further, buyer not bound to return the rejected goods. Okay. Now further, if the buyer has rejected the goods, he is not bound to reject return the rejected goods, because the rejected goods actually belongs to the seller. The ownership is of the seller. Now it is the seller's duty to bring back the rejected goods unless otherwise agreed. Now see, it starts with these words, unless otherwise agreed. But if there is an agreement that it's a buyer duty to return the goods to the seller, if he is rejecting it, then buyer has to do it. If nothing is given in the contract of sale, then it will be duty of the seller to get the goods back from the buyer because it has been rejected. So liability of the buyer for neglecting or refusing the delivery of the goods. So when the seller is ready or willing to deliver the goods and request the buyer to take the delivery, so buyer does not, within a reasonable period of time after such request made, he has not taken the delivery, so he is liable to the seller for any loss occasioned by the neglect or refusal to take the delivery, and also for a reasonable charge for the care and the custody of the goods. So in that case, what will happen? The buyer has now become the owner of the goods. Now it is his duty to take away the delivery, and the delivery has been tendered and requested by the seller. Now what will happen? The delivery has been tendered and requested by the seller, and buyer is not taking it. So the seller may, as a bailey, seller may have to take care of the goods. So also whatsoever he will be taking care of the goods of the buyer, he is having all the rights to charge the take care and the custody of the goods, and is also, and buyer will be responsible for any neglect and all that. Okay, he will not be, seller will not be. Next is, provided further, nothing in this contract shall have the effect of right of the seller with neglect or refusal of the buyer to take the delivery amounts to a repudiation of the contract. Okay, so this is all about what we have studied about the seller and the buyer and the delivery. Now this is unpaid seller. Now what are the rights of who is the unpaid seller? Unpaid seller is a seller who has actually sold the goods to someone, but his payment has not been made, or he has been partly paid. So if he has received any part payment, then also he will be called as a unpaid seller. So right of the unpaid seller are of two types: the right against the goods and right against the buyer. So right against the buyer is just in persona, and right against the goods is just in rem. So right against the buyer is for suit of price. He can file a suit against him for the price of the goods, for the suit for the damages, and the suit for the interest of delayed receiving of the price of the goods. Okay, so he can just have these three suits against the buyer. And against the goods, so against the goods is if the property in the goods has passed to the buyer, then he can exercise lien. He can stop the goods in transit and can afterwards resell the goods. But if the goods has not passed, he is still having the goods. So he can withhold the delivery along with the other three options which otherwise he has lost the property in the goods will be having. Okay, so this is the complete chart. So whenever this is a very important chapter. So you have to consider this while you will be answering the thing. So you prepare this chart as such. Now let me take you up. So when a seller is said to be unpaid. So seller is said to be unpaid when the whole price of has not been paid or tendered, and the seller has an immediate right of action for the price. Number one. Secondly, when any bills of exchange or any negotiable instrument which has been received as a conditional payment has got dishonored. So if you have, suppose for example, you have purchased a mobile, and for mobile you have not made a proper payment. So the seller will be unpaid seller. At the same time, if you have given any check for the payment of the price to the buyer and the check gets bounced, so that is also a then also it will be called as a unpaid seller. So term seller has includes any person who is in the position of a seller. For instance, any agent of a seller will also be called as a seller. So any agent of the seller from to whom the bill of lading has been endorsed, or any consignor or any agent who has himself paid or is directly responsible for the price will be called as a seller. So this is a seller. So what will happen regarding unpaid seller? Even if a part payment is remaining, then also a seller will be called unpaid seller. For example, X sold certain goods to Y for 50,000. Y paid rupees 40,000 and fails to pay the balance. X is an unpaid seller. For example, P has sold goods to R for rupees 60,000 and received a check for the full price. On presentment, the check was dishonored by the bank. P is an unpaid seller. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, next is, so what are the rights of the unpaid seller? So subject to the provisions of this act and any law for the timing in force, notwithstanding that the property in the goods may have passed to the buyer, the unpaid seller of the goods such has by implication of the law a lien. Now these are the same things which we have seen in the chart. Lien on the goods for the price while he is in the possession of them. Secondly, in case of insolvency of the buyer, he has having the right of stop the goods in transit, and after he has parted with the possession of them, because he has parted with the position, that's why he can stop the goods in transit. But if the goods are in possession, then he can exercise a lien. And after exercising any of these, he is having a right to resell the goods also. So where the property of the goods has not passed to the buyer, the unpaid seller has, in addition or to other remedies, what else he is having? He is having a right to withhold the goods, or right of withholding the delivery of the goods, because similar to as in coextensive with his right of the alien. So this right is an additional right if he is having the possession of the goods. But if he is not having any possession of the goods, then what he can do? He is having right to stop the goods in transit and then exercise a lien on it, and then afterwards resell the goods in the open market in order to recover his price. So unpaid seller has been expressly given a rights against the goods as well as to the buyer personally, which are, so these are the rights against the buyer. So right of the unpaid seller against the goods, the right of the unpaid seller against the goods can be categorized into two headings. That is where the property has been passed to the buyer, property has been seller is still having the position. I've already told you this in the chart itself. Now seller's lien will be exercised subject to the provisions of this act. The seller's unpaid seller of the goods who is in possession of them is entitled to retain the possession of them until the payment or the tender of the price has been done. Okay, but in the following cases, there's an exception where the goods have been sold without any stipulation to the credit. Okay, where the goods have been sold on credit, but the terms of credit has expired and the buyer has become insolvent. Okay, so in such a situation, he can actually have the lien. Further, the seller may exercise his right of lien, notwithstanding that he is in possession of the goods as an agent or a bailee whatsoever, but he can exercise the lien. Okay, so right of unpaid seller is right of stoppage in transit. Suppose, subject to the provisions of this act, when the buyer of the goods become insolvent, the unpaid seller who has parted with the possession of the goods has a right to stop them in transit, and that is to say, he may resume the possession of the goods as soon as they are in the course of the transit and may retain them until he is paid or he is requested the tender for the goods. Okay, so right of resale. Now, right of resale is the most important right, because until and unless the right of resale is there, right of having lien, right of stopping in transit, these all rights are having no meaning at all. So this is one of the most important right. So unpaid seller can exercise the right of resale of the goods under the following conditions: where the goods are of perishable in nature, because the goods will deteriorate, the goods are perishing in nature. In such a case, buyer need not to be informed and the sale can happen. Okay. Further, where he gives a notice to the buyer for his intention to resell. If the goods are of not of perishing in nature, then he has to give the notice to the buyer that I'm going to resell the goods because you have not paid the amount for the goods. So if after the receipt of such notice, buyer still fails to pay the amount in the reasonable time, the seller may resell the goods. It may be noted in such a case of the resale of the goods, seller is also entitled to recover the difference. For example, the seller has sold the goods at a price less than what he sold to buyer. So he is always having a right to get the price from the balance price from the original buyer as a damages, because it is just because of him he has to sell the goods at the lower price. And who will bear the damage? The buyer has to bear the damage who has actually breached the contract. Okay, next is retain the profit. If he has gained some profit, that profit will also go in his pocket, in the pocket of the seller, because he has properly intimated, and that that profit will be kept, you can say, as a compensation because the person has actually breached the contract. Okay, so it may also be noted the seller can recover the damages and retain the profits only when the goods are resold after giving the notice of resale. So notice of resale is very, very important. It has to be given. Thus, if the goods are resold by the seller without giving any notice, then seller neither can he recover the losses, but if he has made any extra profit, he has to return it to the buyer. He cannot keep the surplus with him if he has not given the notice. But if he has given the notice and the seller has not acted on the notice, so he is having all the rights to resell the goods in the market and keep the surplus with him and claim the damages from the buyer if the damages, or you can say if there is any loss of the things happen. Okay, so where the unpaid seller who has exercised his right of lien in the stoppage of transit resells the goods, the subsequent buyer always acquires a good title as good as the original owner. Okay. Next is a resale by seller where the right of resale is expressly reserved in the contract of sale. Sometimes what happens that it is said that if the price is not paid by the buyer on time, the seller is having a right to resell, and this is a expressly made contract at the time of the sale only. So in that case, the new buyer will also get a good title on the goods, and this buyer is not at all required to tell it again and again that I'm going to sell the goods. There is no need of notice because this is already being notified at the beginning of the contract. So it may be noted in such a case the seller is not required to give any notice, so he is entitled to recover the damages if there is, as if no notice of the resale has been given. Further, where the property in the goods has not passed to the buyer, the unpaid seller in addition to his damages of right of withholding the goods is having all the rights of lien, and it will be called as a quasi lien, or you can say as good as that of the lien. Further, the right of the unpaid seller against the buyer, and unpaid seller can enforce certain rights against the goods as well as against the buyer personally. I have already told you about those rights, that he can file a suit for the price of the goods, he can file a suit for the damages, he can also file the suit for the interest. So interest will be determined by maybe by the court or by the reasonable amount of interest, which, or sometimes even you might have seen that these are already given in the bill itself. So if you might have seen some bill that it is written over there, if the payment has not been made, interest at the rate of 21% or 18%, whatever will be charged. Okay, so accordingly it will be done. And if there is no determination, then the court will decide what will be the interest. Okay, so in case of the suit for the price which is given under section 55, where under the contract of sale, property in the goods has passed to the buyer and the buyer wrongfully neglects or refuses to pay the goods, then in that case, what will happen? The seller may sue to him for the price of the goods. Okay, so he can file a suit for the price of the goods. So where under the contract of sale, price is payable on a day certain, irrespective of the delivery, and the buyer wrongfully neglects to refuse the price or neglects to pay the price of the goods, the seller may sue him for the price. Although the property of the goods had not been passed, it is with him, but still he can sue because it has to be passed on a certain date which has been predetermined. Further, the suit for non-acceptance, where the buyer wrongly neglects or refuses to accept and pays for the goods, the seller may sue the seller may sue him for the damages on the non-acceptance. Okay.
Hello.
Further is the repudiation of the contract of sale before the due date, where the buyer repudiates the contract before the date of the delivery. Seller may treat the contract as rescinded and sue for the damages. Okay, so this is something called anticipatory breach, which we have. So this unpaid seller is actually the victim of a breach of the contract only. That's why he is unpaid. Further, he can sue for the damages also. I've already told you that at what certain rate of interest he can actually sue for the damages as such. So in the absence of the contract, the court may award the interest. This also we have taken up. So this is all about your Sale of Goods Act. Okay. So guys, there is an announcement for all of you.
Yes, sir.
Can you see me? Am I visible to all of you? I hope now.
No, sir.
Okay. So the announcement is that the quizzes which we had, okay, so you guys have not done well in that. So I want to give you one more opportunity. So tomorrow we will again have the 4 quizzes, and which will start from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Okay. So in the lunch time we will have the quizzes done. Okay. So do your best in these quizzes, because this is now one more thing is there. Many of you were not able to even attempt the quizzes. Why you were not able to attempt the quizzes? Because most of you have not registered your email IDs, and you have entered the quiz by just clicking the link, and you have entered through your Gmail account, or I don't know what account you have entered. Okay, so that is not at all a valid one. So even if I will evaluate you, there will be a question mark on that too. So I request all of you to appear again in the quizzes, which will be held tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So any doubt to anyone regarding this, please tell me. Or if you want to say something regarding it.
No, sir.
Fine. So you know all the assignments are to be submitted by the end of this week. But your CR has actually approached me that sir, assignment thoda zyada ho raha hai. So from the next week I will reduce the assignment also. Okay. So one more assignment for you today. This what do you mean by unpaid seller, and what are the rights of unpaid seller? This also you have to write. Okay. Rest all we have done.
Sir,
I'm not going to give you anything else. So just prepare a chart of it, and just write a brief, maybe 1 and 1.5 page, not more than that. Okay.
Sir, please repeat question.
Yeah, I'm just writing it over here. Who is an unpaid seller? Who is an unpaid seller? Who is unpaid seller? Okay, number 1. In the what are the rights of unpaid seller? Let me tell you one thing. You might be knowing your university may start from 1st of November, because UGC has given the declaration from 1st of November universities will be open. Okay, so we are looking forward to see you all from 1st of November and onwards to the university. Because this is a UGC notification, it has not been declared in your university. You will get the official notification from your, from your teachers or from your in charges, from your HOD and all. But I think so it will be implemented as such. If not, then we are going with this online mode itself. No problem in that too. But in that case, you will be having, you may have to appear for your exam online. So offline exam means a pen and copy exam may happen. So in that case, in the case of the pen and copy exam, you will be asked some descriptive questions. So I have been told by your CR that I am giving a lot of homework to you, but with this homework you will be able to prepare yourself. So if you want me not to give homework, then don't ask me for the important questions at the end of the course. Okay, so these all are the questions. Beyond these questions, I will not ask you even a single thing, that is promise. So now you tell me whether you want to do the homework or not. It's upon you. I was doing it just in order to making you revise the thing, making you prepared for the final exams only. So if you do not want to do it, fine. I will just give you one or two things, or which you can complete in the half page or something like that. So you will not be able to retain what I'm teaching. So that is with you now, but still I will try. If you are means, I don't know, these homework which I am giving are not more than 3 to 4 pages, and if in 1 week itself you cannot write 3 to 4 pages, then I think you are better in the schools where you have to do the entire work whatsoever is given at the last at the end of the chapter. So that I think was a good practice. So please try to do the homework, because this is a practice which you will be doing for appearing in your exams. And here, this thing which you are learning, the mercantile law, it is going to help you throughout your life. Each and every part, in the morning when you wake up and when you just enter into a contract with the bus to just come to the college, from there it starts and it ends till you go to sleep. So my request to all of you is, be attentive and be a part of it, because one or the other way these things will be helpful. If you will be attentive in the law class, I assure you, you will never fail in your life. So please be attentive and do the things whatsoever is asked to, or otherwise if you are having any problem, then you can. Yeah, Sangya, you want to say something?
Sir, I had a little doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I did not understand the WAW fingers certificate.
WAW finger certificate. Okay, have you understand what is WAW finger?
No, sir, that is the reason I'm not able to understand the certification.
So have you searched about that WAW finger? What is a WAW finger?
Yes, sir. It says that a wharf is a part of facility projecting from the land to water. Sir, समझ नहीं आया उसके बाद.
Actually, बात क्या है? When WAW fingers, or you can say WAFs are the place. These are the store. These are the warehouses, which are on the beaches, which are on the docks. So whenever the goods are offloaded from the water to the land, or you can say from air to the land, getting my point or not? So from air, when the goods are through the airways, and when the goods are from the waterways, then these are to be offloaded from the water to the land. These will be kept in wharfs for safety for certain period of time till it is delivered to the buyer who has actually bought the goods. Okay, so till the things, so it will be kept by the WAW finger, maybe on the behalf of the seller, or maybe on the behalf of the buyer. Okay, because my intention is to sell certain goods, suppose to India. Okay, and I am living in America. So from America, I have sent certain goods to be sold in India. Now the person to whom I want to sell, I do not know them, because I have not made any contact, but I know by my things are hotcakes. So as soon as while in transit, I may enter into some contract with some of the dealers in India, and there may be some goods which are remaining also with me. So those goods which are remaining with me, I may be having a contract with the WAW finger that you release the goods to whomsoever I will tell you to release. Are you getting my point? So WAW finger will be a person who is the owner, or you can say who is a custodian of the goods till it is being delivered to the buyer. So now WAW finger actually holds the goods on the basis of on behalf of whom? On the behalf of the seller. But as soon as the selling, suppose the goods are in transit and the sale has happened, and the seller has fixed certain date after the goods has reached to the to India. So okay, in transit I have just entered into contact with someone. So as soon as the goods will be offloaded over here, the goods will be deemed to be carried by the WAW finger on the behalf of buyer, because seller has actually sold it on in the transit. So Wharfinger will give the rent of the wharf also, and will take the goods from the buyer will be giving the rent of the wharf also to the Wharfinger, and Wharfinger in that case will be holding the goods on behalf of the buyer. So as soon as he will give the rent, the goods will be transferred to him for the price which has been agreed between the buyer and the seller. Yeah.
So you are saying that the rent will be paid by the buyer?
In case if the goods are transferred in transit and the seller has told that the goods will be reaching over there and you have to pay the rent till you have taken the delivery. In that case, the buyer will be paying the rent, and Wharfinger will be holding the goods in his wharf on the behalf of the buyer only. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
I
But
hope
so
you
usually it is
you
paid
understood
by
it in this
the
way.
seller.
He is a middleman. He is a middleman who actually receives the goods on the behalf of the seller and delivers the goods to the buyer. Okay. And in between takes the rent of the extra time keeping of the goods in his wharf, either by the seller or by the buyer. So if the goods has already passed, the rent will be paid by the buyer, and the goods are yet to be passed, then the seller will give the rent till the goods are sold. Okay, so he sells also the goods on the behalf of the seller.
So are they like a necessary element when the process is happening?
Sorry?
Is it necessary to hire a Wharfinger?
No, it's not necessary. But what will happen as soon as the goods will be on the dock, the buyer must be ready with the truck so that the things will be transferred directly to the truck so that it can be driven to his home. Getting or not getting? Suppose you have got a machinery, heavy machinery. So unless you have hired a Wharfinger, those machinery will be offloaded and will be where it will be kept on the docks. Because
Okay,
ship
sir,
has
thank
to
you.
leave, ship has to actually, offload the goods and it has to leave. So either the buyer should be ready with his courier so that he can put the goods on the courier and take it away.
कॉलेज खुलने के लिए कब से बोल रहे थे सर?
हाँ बेटा,
कॉलेज खुलने के लिए कब से बोल रहे थे आप?
बेटा 1 नवंबर है शायद तक, वो अभी फिक्स नहीं है. आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन आपकी एचओडी के थ्रू आएंगी. मैं आई एम नॉट ऑथराइज पर्सन टू, बट यूजीसी का नोटिफिकेशन है जो मैं आपसे शेयर कर रहा हूँ. मैंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं कहा कि कॉलेज खुल ही रहे हैं. ओके, सो अगर खुलेंगे तो आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन आ जाएगी. Is that okay?
हेलो.
या संज्ञा, you were saying something. धीरज, मैं बात करता हूँ बेटा तेरे से.
हाँ सर.
हाँ संज्ञा, anything else?
Sir, one more thing.
हाँ बोलो.
Sir, I was reading about the bill of landing.
Okay.
And sir, there were a lot of places where it was written it is like the multimodal transport document.
Multimodal means where the modes of transport has to be changed, because sometimes you have to send the goods by air and the rest of the things may happen on the land. The goods have come to India, suppose from abroad, okay, and it has landed to Delhi. So after Delhi, the goods will be sent to suppose Jaipur by you can say sorry, by train or by bus. So in that case, it will be a multimodal. So the document which is to be there has to be a multimodal, you can say a multimodal transport document. So on the multimodal transport document, you can transfer the goods at any point of time. Okay, whether it is in air or it is on the land. So the transferring of goods can happen because the transfer of title of the goods will happen only through this document only. Okay, bill of lading is one of the document, very important document, by which if you transfer the bill of lading to someone else, the goods are deemed to be transferred to someone else.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Because the details of all these you will get in when you will be going with logistics and supply chain management, something like that. So these all are the part of the logistics management itself. But whatever doubt you have, I can clear it out, because I have personally worked for all this. I was CFO of a company in Bangalore, and I was working for this textile company, which was a Indian subsidiary. I'm a US subsidiary of a Indian company, which was a US subsidiary over here. So it was 100% EOU, export-oriented unit. So whatever, we have never imported certain things, but we have been exporting a lot. Okay, so and it was exported only to that company which was situated in US, and its name was the Indian company's name was Cactus Mansfield Fashions Private Limited, and it was a 100% subsidiary or 100% export oriented unit of FBC, Fashion Business Corporation Inc. USA. So you can search it, FBC Inc. So Fashion Business Corporation is one company in US, and it was having one wholly owned subsidiary in India, and I was CFO of that company. So I used to just go with all these things. So I know all this. That's why I'm able to tell you. Anything else, Sandhya?
No.
Right. So yes, Dheeraj, you are asking something, beta? Dheeraj Lamba. Dheeraj. जय श्री राम हो गया. Fine. So let me give the attendance. वॉशरूम गया? तुमको बता के गया क्या?
हाँ मेरे को मैसेज किया था उसने कि मैं आ रहा हूँ 2 मिनट में.
तुम बड़ा ध्यान रखते हो उसका यार.
सर जिगरी दोस्त है.
खासकर वॉशरूम जाने का. धीरज आ गया भाई?
प्रेजेंट.
हाँ धीरज.
हाँ सर बोलो.
नहीं मैं अटेंडेंस ले नहीं रहा था, मैं तो पूछ रहा था कि तुम कुछ कह रहे थे.
सर मैं बोल रहा था कि वो छुट्टियां कब से, ओ कॉलेज कब से खुल रही है?
छुट्टियां मार
6 महीने की छुट्टी है सर.
अब कॉलेज की याद आने लग गई.
सर आपकी याद आ रही है सर.
ओह रियली, यू वांट टू मीट मी?
सर आपको देखा था पार्किंग में.
यस सर. सर कॉलेज कब भूलेंगे सर, बहुत बोर हो गया घर पे सर.
बेटा प्रोबेबली देखो अभी यूजीसी का नोटिस तो आया है 1 नवंबर से खुल सकते हैं.
सर बट वो तो आई थिंक फर्स्ट ईयर के लिए है ना.
देंगे. हाँ जी
सर वो नोटिस तो आई थिंक फर्स्ट ईयर के लिए है ना शायद.
तो कोई बात नहीं, रिपीट कर लेंगे.
फिर तो सभी आएंगे. फिर फर्स्ट ईयर आएगा तो फिर तुम नहीं आओगे? कैसे थोड़ी होता है दिव्यांशी.
सर बट उसमें लिखा था कि फर्स्ट ईयर के लिए ऐसे कुछ, तो हम लोग को लगा कि सेकंड वालों को पता नहीं कब बुलाए.
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. फर्स्ट ईयर आएगा, सेकंड ईयर भी आएगा यार, इसमें ऐसा क्या है.
सर आप तो बुलेट से आओगे ना सर?
हाँ
आप तो बुलेट से आते हो ना सर?
तो आ जाना पीछे बैठ के मेरे.
हाँ सर.
चलो ठीक है डियर. सो अटेंडेंस लो मैं अब, या और कोई गप्पे लगानी है तो बताओ तुम. मैं तो तैयार हूँ, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. तुम लोगों को भूख लग रही होगी, लंच टाइम हो गया है. आप लोगों को मजा तो आ रहा है?
आपके ऊपर है सर.
यस सर आ रहा है.
ओके समझ में भी आ रहा है अच्छे से? आर यू एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम?
यस सर.
यस सर.
धीरज.
यस.
जय श्री राम.
ओ भाई.
हाँ जी.
हाँ समझ में आ रहा है ना सब?
सब आ रहा है सब.
बेटा आ जाया कर कभी कभी, बीच में मजा आता है यार.
आएंगे जरूर.
ओके एंड गिव मी अ कॉल व्हेनेवर यू आर फ्री. राइट?
ओके ठीक है.
Right, you guys, you are free
क्लास
to
खुल
call me
गई, अपन बहुत
anytime.
enjoy
And
करेंगे.
I have opened that with the I had a discussion with the Chirayu also. Please do not post good morning and good evening in that. Okay, please post the relevant things. If you have some relevant issue, please post it on the group, because there are 70 people. That's why Chirayu actually he consulted me only. That sir, we only the admin will be able to take. So I only told him that only admin will be able to just put the things over there. But yesterday I had a discussion with him. Now I have opened it for all. So you guys please consider it that we have to only go for some good relevant things. And still if you have something और कुछ अगर लग ही रहा नहीं यार आज तो शेयर करना ही है, तो फिर सोचता मत कर देना, कोई दिक्कत वाली बात नहीं है. ओके चिरायु, इज दैट ओके? चिरायु.
यस सर.
ठीक है ना बेटा?
यस सर.
तुमने सुन तो लिया क्या? ठीक है.
हाँ सर सुना है.
Fine. So guys, we will be having a quiz again from 1 to 2 tomorrow. And चिरायु वही बीच में वही 1 से 12 मिनट की क्विज रख के और 3 मिनट का ब्रेक लेकर अपन कर देंगे. ठीक है?
हाँ सर सेम प्रोसीजर है ना?
हाँ सेम प्रोसेस रहेगा, लेकिन कोई भी बिना कॉलेज के आईडी के उसमें लॉगिन नहीं करेगा. ये तय है. आई विल नॉट अलाउ एंड इवन यू विल, आप कर ही नहीं पाओगे. मैंने उसमें से ऑप्शन ही हटा दिया है वो. सो बिना कॉलेज की आईडी के आप नहीं एंटर कर पाओगे. बट वन थिंग यू हैव टू मेंशन वेदर यू आर इन सेक्शन बी और सेक्शन डी, वो अपने को मेंशन करना है सर, ताकि आपकी सेग्रीगेशन प्रॉपर्ली हो सके.
ठीक है सर.
ठीक है जी. राइट देन.
यस सर.
ओके नाउ आई एम टेकिंग अटेंडेंस. आकाश जैन, अभय जैन, अभय सिंह शेखावत, अभिषेक सिंह सिसोदिया, अधिराज, आकाश, आशुतोष, आयुष वर्मा, अजान आयुब, चिरायु, दीपक थानवानी, दीपेंद्र गुजर, धनंजय सिंह, धीरज लांबा, दीप्ति राकेश, देव्यांशी चौकसी, गौरव शर्मा, हार्दिक रहेजा, जयपाल सिंह तंवर, जयंत द्विवेदी, कनिष्क बिलोची, कनिष्क शर्मा, खुशी वाधवा, लगन महिपाल, लक्ष्य शर्मा, मिहिर अग्रवाल, नमन जैन, नमन सिंह, नेहा गोपलानी, पारिजा, प्रणव शर्मा, प्रियम सोनी, राघव सिंगल, राजवीर सिंह आनंद, ऋषभ गोयल, ऋषि कानूनगो, सचिन यादव, सागर शिरवी, साहिल खंडेलवाल, संज्ञा गुप्ता, शशांक खोसला, श्रीयंश जैन, शुभंग, सृजल, सुरभि सिंगल, तनिष्क अग्रवाल, तरुण सिंह, उज्जवल गुप्ता, वैष्णवी मिश्रा, विक्रमादित्य सिंह, विशाल चौधरी and यशपाल सिंह Mahecha. Fine guys, so let us depart for the time being, and we will be there tomorrow in the quiz. You have to take the link from the Teams only for the same. Okay, so I will post it on the Teams. Fine. Okay, take care. Bye bye. See you tomorrow. And have a nice day to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Same to you, sir.